Hello everyone, welcome to my quick review of Candlekeep Mysteries, the newest D&D adventure book from Wizards of the Coast. Now this is an adventure book unlike most others, certainly some of the more recent ones that I've got. Now this is 17 separate sort of mini adventures, mini scenarios in one book. Now Candlekeep itself is a pretty cool location. It's got enough backstory, such as you needing to pay a book to enter and get access to like their library and stuff like that. And Candlekeep draws all of these 17 adventures together. Now the 17 adventures, there is one for level 1 through to 16, and then there's actually 2 level 4 adventures. Reading through the adventures, they all are quite different. Some of them have very different focuses. You know, some you might be exploring or trying to uncover some information. Others, they're definitely more combat focused, and that's going to allow you to pick what one's right for you. Now I would say a couple of the adventures you're going to want to sort of, as a DM, maybe guide players to specific points. One of the adventures in particular, I think it was number 16, basically you could kind of go through and get to that final room without actually going to some of the other rooms and locations in that sort of setting, which there's some of them, clearly they're not important locations, but they're quite fun locations, you know, and as one-shots, you kind of want everyone to experience the whole thing because they're probably not going to want to play them again. Now, the 17 adventures work kind of well together in terms of, at the start of each, the players find a book, and that book then takes them, maybe it gives them information, maybe it has a map in it or something like that, and maybe it just transports them somewhere, and that's how that journey begins. And they're all linked, therefore, back to the Candlekeep library, but as this book sort of says at the start, you can kind of do with this as you see fit. If you want to, you could just let your players find a book, or you could move the Candlekeep library, and that could be a different library in the setting you're using, whatever that is, if it's one of the sort of the not Forgotten Realms ones. So I think that's a really nice one. They're very much gearing this book to allowing you to use it in your own setting. Personally, I think it's really good that they're each kind of built as one-shots or maybe 1 to 2 sessions long. That's going to be really good for maybe running it with people that don't want to do too much or don't want to commit to a lot of D&D but want to give it a go. One thing I would say to that though, it would have been maybe nicer if there was more skewed towards the lower end of the player scale, because, you know, then you could give them that one, you know, the one-shot, just introing them rather than sort of a really high level dungeon. I find it easier to sort of add monsters rather than take them away and still sort of maintain the feel of a dungeon or an adventure. But that's just me personally, so that's why I'd say skewing them lower would have been more beneficial. You can always up the difficulty, add some monsters, but sometimes if you take away some monsters, it's almost like, oh, we're just fighting that, and it's not quite as interesting. Yeah, you can swap monsters in and out, and it even says to do that in the book if you want to adjust the levels for the players and stuff like that. One oddity at the back of the book, as per normal, you have the big poster. Now that's quite nice, but what's odd is that what's shown on this poster is actually more than what's in the book. So if I just flick quickly to the page, which is, there we go, so we have Candlekeep here. Hopefully that's in focus. Yeah, there we go. So that's Candlekeep. That's the start of Candlekeep, but it doesn't actually show you there, and there's nowhere in the book sort of this part of the Candlekeep area, which is actually the inner ward where the Great Library is. And that's, you know, that inner library, which is shown on this bit of the map, or on the poster map, well, that's where you find the books with the help of the guides that are going to in turn make you go on all the adventures. So it seems weird that that's not in the book. It just means that the DM is either can't just pass the poster over to the players because they kind of need that bit, maybe, depending on how they're doing things. It just seems odd that it's on the poster but not in the book. Overall though, I really like the book. I love the idea that it's not just a huge massive campaign, though it could be. Each of the adventures, you know, starts kind of the same with the book, but they have endings, and endings that might lead on to other things. For instance, there's a mining town that's just found, you know, in one of the adventures, and, well, there kind of there's some hints and ideas that you could use that to carry on. You know, it doesn't necessarily limit you then to that one shot. You could expand that into a further campaign, or you can just make then all the players come back to Candlekeep to go and look for another book and do another adventure from the book. It's really nicely laid out for that purpose. So it seems good for new DMs, it seems good for DMs that maybe just want to try something different. Maybe they're on your group is on a long campaign, and maybe you just want to break it up. Maybe they find this book and they're transported somewhere. So one way of starting Candlekeep Mysteries is players finding a book, and actually my first Warlock Tiles build of the month, the Inn, now that is all about, well not all about, but there is a way in there for the players to find a book. That book could then be used to, you know, to kickstart a Candlekeep Mysteries adventure, or it could just be the book you need to pay entry to Candlekeep. So make sure you check that out, as well as all the other stuff on the channel. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed, like, subscribe and all that jazz, and I'm Oliver East, signing out.